This is the Business Marketing and Finance Podcast, the podcast for all your business marketing and financial needs. Get insight from experienced professionals as they delve deep into their passions and share their knowledge each week with your host, Daryl James. Like to follow or learn more? You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button now.
Welcome everyone, this is this week's BMF podcast. I'm your host Daryl James and I'm here today with Alexia Sibthorpe, CEO of Xel Events, tour manager, youth worker and mentor to young people for the past 19 years. Welcome Alexia to the Business Marketing and Finance podcast.
Hi, good afternoon Daryl and thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you very well on this midweek afternoon.
Nearly the weekend.
Yeah, it is. So Alexia, I know that you've recently launched an event creation and planning company this year. Can you tell us a bit about your journey, type of events you've set up before and how you made the turning point to who you are today?
I certainly can, but where do I start? So my childhood, I'm from Manchester originally, currently living down south now, but my childhood up on a council estate, single parent family, was quite rough to be fair. Brought up and chose some different avenues that maybe I may not choose now in my future, but kind of hung around with a few different people, got into some sticky situations, and to be fair, ended up pregnant at 16, so I was a very young mum. Had my son and always had a passion for dance, so I was dancing from a very young age. I used to do ballet, tap, bit of stage and stuff like that from a young age. And after I had my son, I was thrown an opportunity from a DJ in Manchester, which Stu Allen, so it's a massive DJ, still is a massive house DJ now, to go and work at a radio station called Sunset Radio. Now it was a private radio station at the time, but it's evolved into what we now know as Capital Radio. So their journey has been absolutely massive as well. I worked there at 17 doing shout outs on the radio on a Saturday night and worked with some phenomenal DJs and artists that you probably still know of, like Sweet Female Attitude, Ragga Twins, Paul Oakenfold, Carl Cox, all these massive DJs. I was very, very privileged to meet and work with. And from doing that, I started dancing with them, started touring with them, doing club nights, did some club nights. I've danced at Glastonbury, which is a massive festival, as you know. Creamfield. I was a resident dancer at Bowlers for 3 years, which is one of the biggest warehouse clubs in Manchester. And toured a lot of places with these DJs. And as the rave scene continued to erupt in Manchester and around, obviously, England, toured even more with them. So that's where my dance career started, I guess. From there, obviously bringing up a small child as well was quite difficult. My mum was amazing and she was a massive influence in my life and helped me a lot. Yeah, definitely. So she was a great role model to me as well. Always told me to push forward. Don't let anyone ever hold you back and go for your dreams. And she enabled me to do that by helping with my son when he was young. So off I went touring and stuff like that. And then when I came back, I was a mum. And from that, I guess as that kind of died down, I decided to set up my own stuff. So I moved over to Trafford in Manchester. And I set up my own dance company. But it was kind of like a youth work stroke dance company called Tudor, which was Trafford Urban Development Organisation. Sorry, stumbled a bit there.
That's cool.
And we started to be really successful. We started teaching in a lot of schools in Trafford. I worked in a lot of youth centres and community centres and freelanced a lot of work for Trafford Council as well as Manchester Council, and things grew and grew from there. Around 2007 I got an opportunity to work at Barca in Manchester, which was one of the most exclusive bars in Manchester for events and things, and I was the event manager there. So I did a lot of events around. I did weddings, we did bar mitzvahs, christenings, birthday parties. I actually organised quite a few club nights there. My very first one was with Steve Smooth Sutherland, here again, big R&B DJ. Definitely. We also hired Rampage to come and work with us, and that was fantastic. That was 3 years of my life from there. It was a whirlwind because it was a very, very fast-paced job, but it was so exciting being involved in preparing all these events for people, seeing their faces when they walked in, looking at the decor, or you know, when the DJs dropping them tunes, just seeing everybody like having such a good time. It was a massive buzz for me around that time. And like I say, I worked with a lot of companies. So we worked with the Bank of New York, we worked with Barclays doing their Christmas events, and you know, literally high-end events it was at that point. So that was really, really good. Unfortunately, in end of 2009, beginning of 2010, it was sold on. So Herald Inns and Bars owned it, and they sold it on. To which they were going to turn it into something completely different. So around that time, I'd also met somebody called Andy Jackson, who had his own youth agency called Dreamcatchers. And he basically poached me and said, you know, headhunted me and said, come and work with me. We'll give you this, and offered me half the rights to the company to do that. So
that must have been really good. Yeah,
that was a really big opportunity. So I merged Trafford Urban Development Organisation, which was still popping off the whole time that I was working at Barca. So if you can imagine, I was working at Barca and going teaching dance in between, and setting up all these different dance classes and stuff across Manchester and Trafford. So I merged my company with his, and it just exploded. It absolutely exploded. I mean, at one point we were working in probably, I'd say about 80% of the schools in Trafford. We were being headhunted for working at festivals, even stage managing Party in the Park in Manchester. I worked at Moss Side Carnival, stage managing the youth stage there. Things just grew and grew and grew, to the point where we met Darryl, of course. We met at Midem, which was in the south of France, in Cannes. Myself and my one of our project coordinators, Lisa Ellis, who's amazing, we went over there to promote some of the artists that we were working with. And we went over there and handed out CDs, did a lot of networking, met yourself, and then from there we evolved, and we set up our project, which was Our Time Productions. And just to touch on that, because it was amazing, was a cross-city cohesion project that we did, and that involved us auditioning in Birmingham and in Manchester for rappers, singers, dancers, producers, MCs, you name it. We did the whole thing, didn't we?
It was really, I mean, sorry to cut you there, it was really a good time as well, because I feel like the need for the youth to actually find an outlet that they could actually perform and express themselves was needed then. And I feel like the amount of traction and publicity that we had for it, and just touching the young people's lives, I feel like, I couldn't really ask for anything more. I think from that project, I think it was really good, Our Time, and I feel like we should actually, reintroduce that 10 years on now. We should do it again, do a part 2 for the youth, But sorry, continue.
Definitely. So to explain to the audience a bit about that, because it was so successful, because we might relaunch it, was that we auditioned it in both cities and got the cream of the crop.
That's right.
We then took 10 young people each into the studio and assigned mentors, which were underground artists that we both work with in Manchester and Birmingham, and made some absolutely sick beats. I mean, the beats that came out of that project were amazing. I still listen to the CD now.
Definitely.
Then the difference was that we swapped them beats over, didn't we, with the artists, and then enabled them to write to the beats that they'd swapped over. So Manchester gave their beats to Birmingham and vice versa. We then, when we'd obviously put them through the programme with the mentors, and we taught them about positive lyric writing, so there was no negativity, no swearing. We wasn't talking about killing this person, getting revenge. We were talking about the good that was coming out of life and what they aspired to be, who they thanked, who their role models were. And they wrote some amazing tracks, didn't they?
No, they really did. They touched on gun violence and knife crime, and just being in the streets and what it's like for them at that age. And I mean, we typically, we had them from, I think, as young as 9 was the youngest.
Yes, They were the guys from Sale West, wasn't they? Really young young kids that were showing us their experience of life, wasn't they, through the songs, what they'd experienced, the troubles that they faced, but also their aspirations for the future and what they wanted to achieve. We went into the booth, we recorded all them, and then we released our CD, our time CD, and then did a show in Manchester and a show in Birmingham to showcase. They were both sold out events, which was brilliant at our end. But the CD flew, didn't it? Absolutely flew. I think, did we get 1,000 CDs? I think it was 1,000 CDs.
Yeah, 1,000, and we just got rid of them very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I discovered a box. I discovered a box that must have just got, I don't know, let in my cupboard when I was moving from Manchester down to London 3 years ago now. And I remember messaging you going, oh my God, I found some CDs. And I gave them out at the youth club that I now manage. And they still play it and talk about it now, which is why I think it would be a huge success if we did it again, definitely.
I agree.
The young people that I've given it to have always talked about how positive and how good it was to hear that, you know, things have changed massively. I think things have got worse for our young people, to be fair. But to hear other people talk about their journeys and then be able to then go back and, because I still talk to a lot of them young people, I have a lot on social media. So to hear their journeys and what they've achieved, I mean, some of the girls that were dancing for me back then are now dancing with Zara Larson. I saw one of them dancing with Nicki Minaj just the other month, and you know, they've really gone on to do amazing things. And you know, I've been in situations when I've been at parties or whatever, or gatherings or events, and I've had young people come up to me and say, actually, Alexia, I wouldn't be here if you hadn't put me on that path. I'd have gone this way, I'd have got pregnant at that age, or I'd have got into that gang, or I'd have made that wrong decision or that one, but actually you put me on the path that I was on. And through dance, a lot of my work was through dance, but through dance it enabled them to make good choices and steered them away from the streets. And I feel like that's what we did a lot through the music as well. So our time was it was an amazing project.
That just shows you the positive impact that you can have as a mentor. You know, I mean, some of the barriers that the young people are actually facing these days, they need mentors to actually come and steer them, guide them, help them get from A to B. And you know, sometimes they don't actually know what direction to take, so they end up taking the direction that's more, you know, more influential with their peers around them and things like that. What would you say is the biggest barriers you feel like young people actually are facing these days in terms of attaining their goals and, you know, living their dreams?
Well, I would say that the reduction in youth work has been catastrophic to young people over the years. I mean, 10 years ago, I watched them decimate the youth services in Manchester, and the crime rate went through the roof. And then they're wondering why antisocial behaviour was rising, why this was happening and this, and, you know, gun crime went up in Moss Side and all these things. But then they didn't look to what they had reduced the funding on and what they had taken away. Now, unfortunately, over the years, I mean, I've been doing youth work, like you said in the beginning, for 19 years, so I've watched this happen. And unfortunately, over the last few years, after moving down to London to work for Surrey County Council, they've started to decimate youth services down here and pull funding. And I think that has been, like I say, catastrophic to young people. But I think social media has a massive impact on how young people see their lives, how they see opportunities, and I think it really holds them back because they're constantly comparing themselves to people on social media that just put, you know, a minute of their life on there and they aspire to be like that, when actually they don't realise that for the other however many hours of the day, they might not be that happy. They're just showing you a glimpse of what it is. But it puts so much pressure on our girls to wear these clothes, to look like this, to have lip fillers, to have bum implants, to have this, and then the guys to carry knives, to be hard, to not show emotions. It is just, you know, it really is detrimental to our mental health for the young people. But I think, you know, again, going back to youth services, there's not a lot of role models out here anymore that are allowed. There's too many kind of red tape. You're not allowed to do this, or you're not allowed to act in this way, or you know, there's so much red tape around the way that we work with young people that we can't just be fluid with them, and we can't be honest with them sometimes, and you know, give them that proper good advice. I mean, I'm one of them youth workers that will share my experiences with them because I feel like I gain more respect in that way, rather than thinking that I just sit behind a desk and push a pen, and that I've come from a nice, you know, privileged privileged family with a silver spoon in my mouth. Well, actually, that's not the case whatsoever.
Yeah.
I tell young people, you know, I was a mum at 17. I came from a council estate, and you know, I have travelled around the world, and I've been fortunate to do that. But that's been because I've pushed forward and I've made them things happen for myself.
Yeah.
And that kind of comes from my mum. Like I say, she was a great role model. She used to say, don't let anybody hold you back.
Yeah.
Never let anybody tell you you can't do that, because you can. So I think that's why I've always pushed forward with the things that I do, and I kind of convey that to the young people I work with, and I push them to be the best that they can be.
Yeah.
So for me, I think good role models, youth services, access to youth centres, to places where they feel safe, where they're able to come and have conversations in a safe environment, and know that, you know, we're not an authoritative figure. We're not going to run to the police and tell them. You know, we understand that people make mistakes, and it's about growing from them mistakes. So I think it holds that massively, but I think social media, it's a massive impact on that generation now, and for me, that definitely holds young people back.
Yeah.
100%.
So just going from there, and just if you could reposition your microphone a little bit for me, please, because it seems to have shifted for the last minute or so. But yeah, that's fine. Just going from what you're saying in terms of social media, do you think then it's, I suppose, the responsibility then of influencers to actually address some of these issues in terms of how young people see themselves and what they try and live up to, considering that yes, it is just say 60 seconds or even 10 seconds sometimes of somebody's life, a snapshot that people are getting, and are not necessarily getting the full picture and the full person and what they do in their day-to-day struggles.
100%, and I think more influencers, like the likes of the Kardashian family, I don't follow them, I don't admire them in any way whatsoever, because I think that they're puppets. They literally push the tea drinks and say that that's how their figure, or they push these pills and say that's how they got their figure, when actually it's plastic surgery, and a lot of our girls aspire to be like these women when it's unachievable without the money that they've got. So I think the influencers that you see, like, the YouTube influencers that do makeup, and they're buying like high-end makeup that our girls can't afford. They can't afford to go out and buy that sort of makeup, so they're never going to achieve what they're seeing on there. So I think influencers have to be more realistic and have to realise that actually what they're putting out there is not real, it's fake. Well, I'm not going to say every single influencer is like that, but if we're talking about high-end ones that promote things that are unachievable and that we can't afford, we can't do that, then I think they need to realise the impact that they're having on our youth. And even down to just the way that some of them dress, they're promoting that sexuality within our young girls, when young girls should just be young girls, and they should be allowed to grow organically and evolve in the way that they want to. But they're watching all these influencers wearing this type of clothes or this sort of makeup or having lip fillers, and they're thinking that that's how I have to be. And it's scary. It really is scary. And I think that they should definitely take responsibility for what they're putting out there. But I don't feel like they do. I think they feel like if they're making money, it doesn't matter to them.
I understand. So just going a little bit in terms of the how you're juggling business and family. I know you mentioned that you have 2 children. How are you managing the whole business, the new venture and everything with the family?
Well, my family are all grown up now. So my son's 26 and has 2 children of his own. So I'm actually a nana now, which is crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. That was a big shock 5 years ago, but I absolutely adore them. And my daughter, who is 20, she's actually come through this journey with me. So she was a professional dancer. So she did a lot of the dance stuff I did a lot of touring, won a lot of competitions, and came through this journey with me. She was even involved in our time, if you remember. She was 13 and wrote one of the sickest songs on the album. I'm biased, of course, but I work it out because they're older now, they're doing what they're doing. So it was a struggle when they were younger, but again, my mum has been amazing throughout my life and throughout helping me with childcare and stuff like that. I've got some amazing friends that helped me out as well, but I will say, it's not easy. It's not easy juggling being a mum and running a business, but I don't feel like at this point in my life with Xel Events that it's going to be a hindrance. In fact, Bailey helps me massively with ideas. She's going to be the accounts director, so she's going to come on board.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Take off amazingly. So, you know, it's going to be a family business.
That's
so
good.
I don't feel like it's going to hold us back. I think it's going to push us forward, if anything.
Yeah. Now, with Xel Events, what type of events do you currently cater for?
Right, okay. So what I'd like to think is that we are an events company with a difference. So I don't want to do your traditional normal events. So I'll use weddings as an example. So I will organise a traditional wedding if that's what someone wants me to do. But I have called the package that we have within Xel Events Infinity Ceremonies. Now, we've called it that because we believe that obviously love is infinite, and that is the tagline that goes with Infinity Ceremonies, but that anybody can fall in love. So, you know, we're not the sort of company that will say that it's just man and woman in a church. If you want to do it that way, then fine, we'll help you do that. But some people, you know, it can be two guys that want a ceremony to women, or they could, you know, I'm organising a wedding that's going to be a festival next year. So they literally want it in a field with a DJ, with a stage, with some acts on that stage as well, and they want to throw a festival for their family and friends.
That's a good idea.
It's fantastic, isn't it? So the way that they're doing it is they'll get married the day before in the registry office. The wedding will be sealed and done officially, but then actually have a kind of play marriage on the day as well, where they will walk down some sort of aisle, we'll call it an aisle, but it'll probably be in the middle of the field, and we will have them blessed within that event, and then they'll just party with their family and friends. And that's because they're completely non-religious. They don't want to do it the traditional way, and they love a party and they love a festival. So they're like, why not? Why not indeed? So that's where we're coming with a difference. But also, I feel like we're different because of the packages we offer. So we do 5 different packages. So we do personal touch, which of course is exactly what it says. So it's me giving it the personal touch. So that's for your birthdays, your christenings. I mean, take it back before the baby's born. We'll do gender reveal parties. We will do naming parties, christenings, anything to do with your child. With birthdays, we'll do decade parties, sweet 16, coming of age, all that sort of thing. So that's within personal touch. We also do a package that's business minded, which is for your corporate events. I'm in the middle of organising something for the company that my daughter works for, so I'm organising a team day out for them, which is going to be one of the locked-in events where you go, escape room events. So I'm organising that for them to go up to London and have a day out, and then they're going to do like a meal afterwards and what have you. So business minded is more for your corporate events. Then we've got party vibes package. Now that is exactly what I've been doing for the last 19 years. So that's our youth kind of thing. So that's just talent showcases, we could do community and youth festivals, anything to do with young people comes under that package, and for me that's what I'm the most experienced at, because I've been doing youth work and working with young people for so long. And then we've got our festival package, which has exploded. I mean, I have already sold over 30 packages for that, which I'll explain in a second, but I've got about 50 people that want quotes and stuff that I'm literally trudging through. So what we offer with the festival package is, it's kind of a safety package. So it can be for girls or boys, but it's all about your transport and it's getting you home safely. So for instance, if they want to go from Surrey to SW4, which we've sold over 15 packages for this, we'll arrange private car to pick you up at a designated place, take you over to the festival, so that'll be in Clapham. Then we will arrange a meeting time at the end of the festival, so you go, you enjoy your day. And we know everyone likes to drink at festivals, and sometimes a lot more, so you can come a bit dishevelled by the end of the day. Waiting for taxis or trying to find your way at the end of a festival can be quite nerve-wracking.
Of course.
And I recognise with young people they have a lot of anxiety, and you know, for safety and kind of the peace of mind for parents as well when it's young people going for the first time, or you know, things like that. So you get picked up at the end of the festival at an arranged meeting place and time, and you're taken to an after party. So for instance, if we're using SW4, I've worked with 3 clubs in Clapham, which do the official after parties, and I've got 20 places on each of the guest lists there. So you'd be picked up from after SW4, taken over to, let's call it Sugarcane Bar. I'll give them a bit of promotion. Sugarcane Bar, which is a brilliant bar in Clapham, have given me 20 places. So we'll be taken there, you'll queue up, you'll get straight in, you'll then enjoy the rest of the evening. But at the end of that, you're going to be a little bit more dishevelled, and again, safety first. Hanging about outside clubs in the early hours of the morning, not always the nicest thing to do.
Sure.
So we pick you up at the end and we take you back to that designated meeting point, drop you home safely. So it's all about the transport of it. We can arrange the tickets for them festivals, although a lot of them have sold out now, so this is something I've been pushing since January. But we can do it without that, and some of the people that have been in touch actually just want picking up at the end of the festival and do the after party bit and then taken home, which is absolutely fine. I know a lot of people that go to festivals enjoy the journey too. So I'm a festival nut. I go to 3 or 4 a year. I've already got 3 books for this year. And I love getting on the train and going into London and experiencing thousands of people already. The party, the atmosphere is amazing. So we understand that sometimes people want to do that bit of the journey, and that's fine, but let's get you home safely afterwards.
Definitely.
For me, that package has exploded massively over the last couple of months, and like I say, we've had so many inquiries and we've already done lots of bookings for it. So that's our festival package, and then you've got the Infinity ceremony package as well, which obviously is the alternative to the traditional wedding. And I mean, it's going really, really well. I mean, I've got 3 events under my belt so far this year. I've organised 2 40th birthday parties, and I'm doing an 18th in 2 weeks.
Okay, nice.
So it's been fun organising. We do bespoke handmade centerpieces. So we're very involved with the decor of the venue. We'll go in there and we'll make that venue. I mean, have a look on our website, xelevents.co.uk, that's a bit of a plug. But have a look on the website at some of the pictures and stuff. Everything I've done by hand. So, I will go in there with the helium canister with the balloons. We'll blow up all the balloons while we're in there. Put out the tablecloths, the centerpieces, the big balloons, anything you want. I mean, the 18th I'm organising at the minute is quite an affluent family, so money's not an issue to them. So she's having a magic mirror, which is this whole new selfie mirror that they do. You can stand in front of and take pictures. She's having balloon arches. They're going all out for this, so it's going to be phenomenal, and I can't wait to put pictures on the website and have a look at that.
You mentioned your website and marketing Xel Events as a new starter. What would you suggest new startups do to position themselves?
Okay, so I've been working for 15 years in direct events, and I've always wanted to launch my own company, always wanted to, and as I said earlier, I've done stuff alongside different organisations, but always been passionate to do my own. Moving down to Surrey and working for the council has been a bit of a rocky ride, and we've been in a few restructures in the time that we've been down here. So at the end of last year, I thought, hang on a minute, I can't keep working for a company that would literally replace me in a second. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. So over Christmas, I actually set up an Instagram page, didn't launch it, just kind of got things ready, what I was going to put on there, what content was going to go in there, and kind of did a little bit of research within my sort of catchment area of what people were looking for. So I went on a few different event websites, saw how they did things, what they were doing, and kind of got my research in really, and what was needed and what could be different. So I didn't want to be like the mainstream events just doing normal things. I wanted to bring something different to the table. So then all over Christmas, instead of going out partying, I was at home doing all this research, getting everything ready. And on the 1st of January, I launched an Instagram page. And that is how I launched the business. I relied on friends that were on my Instagram to kind of promote it and, offer it out to their friends, and started off my promotion that way. So Instagram has been a massive tool for me. We're up to 180 followers at the moment, but from that, as I've explained with the festival package, we've probably got 50 plus bookings just for the festival stuff. So, it does work, it really does. But I started researching different, so for starters, I bought your book, there's a plug. So looking at different avenues of passive income and stuff like that, and realising that you've got to work hard for your dream. If you want this to work, you've got to work hard. So kind of using Instagram, then I set up a Facebook page, then I set up my website. I've only done that within the last month, and I've banked on, because I work with young people, it's all about conversations with them, so word of mouth has been massive for me as well, and where I just talk people's ears off and tell them everything that I'm doing, and hopefully my energy comes across to them as well. So a lot of word of mouth, Instagram, as much as I've just slated social media, I'm going to say it works for businesses. Hashtags. So hashtags on Instagram are amazing. So I bought a package from a company called Boss Divas, which is there's another plug, someone that I follow on Instagram, which is a group of ladies from America that are entrepreneurs, that have set up their own businesses, but now want to give back to women and empower them and help them and be successful in their businesses. So you get a lot of hints and tips, but one of the first things I got from them was a cheat sheet with hashtags on it. For each kind of line of business, they gave you a list of hashtags to use. So for instance, like event planning, event business, wedding bells, wedding planning, all that sort of thing. Which, you know, you kind of think, well, that's obvious, but it's not really. When you're sat in front of the computer uploading stuff, it's not obvious what you need to use. So I started using their worksheets and using the hashtags, and my followers grew and grew and grew, which was amazing. But then what I've started doing now in the last couple of weeks, I've got some new business cards made, now I've got the website up and running, everything sorted. So I've actually been, when I've been at meetings, so I'm very, very fortunate that I go to a lot of meetings with a lot of different agencies, and I meet a lot of people on a weekly basis. And so within that, I do a lot of networking, and I tell them that, yes, I'm an area manager for the council for the youth services at the moment, but actually my sideline and my main business is Xel Events, and I push it that way. So for me, word of mouth and Instagram and hashtags has been definitely what's worked for me so far, and it's something that I'm going to continue to do going forward as well.
Fantastic. And in terms of scaling your business, where do you see your business, let's say, in the next 3 years?
Oh, international, definitely, and it will be. My dream for Xel Events is not only to do events here in the UK, but it's also to travel with them events. So you're going to be the first person I've told this, but I've just sealed the deal to do a christening in Canada next year. Nice, congratulations. Granted, thank you. So granted, that is for someone that I know, but she has that confidence in me that this event, you know, that I can go over there, that I can source everything. I'll do so much research for her. I'm going to go over there before the actual event, but she's like, yeah, come over, do this event for me. And I'm fortunate, you know, that they're in a position where they can pay for that service as well. So I've just sealed that. So definitely international. Worldwide, where I'd be wanting to go, 100%. I want to start doing the infinity ceremonies. As you'll see on the website, it says you want to get married in the forest, on a beach, you know, wherever you want to do it. So my vision for Xel Events is it to be an international event and activity planning company.
Sounds good.
3 years, 100%. Within the next year.
Definitely. That sounds
3 years.
Really good.
I want to have a crew. I want to have like a crew of staff that work for me. I want to empower other people to come through this. It's not just about me, it's about empowering my daughter, making sure that she has a future, leaving a legacy for her and for my grandchildren. But also, you know, if the party vibes, for instance, if that takes off and we're doing more youth and community festivals, and we're doing under 18 nights, and we're doing talent showcases, it's about bringing them young people through as well and empowering them.
No, that sounds
very
good.
Important to me.
Alexia, if you could tell your younger self anything, what would it be? If we could rewind back to when you was in your teens, what would you tell yourself then, in terms of what to expect or what you could actually achieve, or just any form of thing? What would you say to yourself?
I would echo what my mum instilled in me, to be honest, Errol, that to never let anybody hold you back or tell you that you can't do this, because I think internally, as long as we are happy and settled within ourselves, we can achieve anything, absolutely anything. I do feel like I might have wasted a bit of time on unhealthy relationships along the way, so I would kind of, educate myself about what is healthy and what's unhealthy, and that's something I promote massively within the youth work I do now. So I think I would just give myself that bit of advice, but I don't think I would change that much, Darryl, to be honest, because my journey has made me the person that I am today.
That's good.
And it's helped me achieve what I have. And, my life has been phenomenal. I look back on some of the things that I've achieved. I mean, I've lived in Thailand, I've taught over in Thailand, and, we've travelled with our dance company around the world. We've been to Vegas, we've been to France, we've danced at Disneyland, Paris. We've achieved so much that I don't think I would change that much. I'd just tell myself to just keep pushing through. Don't let people hold you back. That would be my word of wisdom to myself.
Inspiring words. You have to keep progressing and keep going forward no matter what life throws at you, because life is ultimately a journey, and a journey doesn't just have a straight road. It has winds and turns and sometimes hills, so
and sometimes it's more fun on that roller coaster anyway, because I feel like if we were just on a straight journey, it'd be quite boring.
No, I completely agree with you. Now, Alexia, one thing that I'm asking all my people that come on to the show is if they can give a special offer to the listeners of this podcast. Just whatever you feel is a great offer that's exclusive to us.
Yeah, well, what I actually, because obviously we discussed this a couple of days ago, I've had a few days to think about this, and what I'm about to put on the website today and on my Instagram, so please check it out at Xel Events on Instagram, Facebook, xelevents.co.uk, is a 50% discount offer.
Oh, wow, so fantastic.
So that's pretty amazing. It will depend on capacity, so I'm not about to offer you £100 to be put an event on to 5,000 people, so it will depend on capacity and what the event is, but I'm about to put a 50% reduction offer on anyone that subscribes within the next few days to my website.
Wonderful. Okay, so we have a cut-off date of in about 3-4 days?
Yeah, I'd say give it till the end of the weekend.
Okay.
Get those subscribers up.
No problem. I'll make sure that's in the notes as well, in terms of the date and everything as well. So Alexia, thank you for your time. Thank you for this interview. Do you have any final words and any links that you would like us to actually to come and learn more information, to get some more information, to actually hire and book you as an event planner? Could you also spell Xel Events so that everybody knows where to go to?
So just very quickly, I was actually going to call the company Lex Events because my nickname is Lex, but somebody had already taken the name with Company's House, so I played around with it, so it's actually just Lex backwards. So it's XEL EVENTS. So it's Xel Events. So it's Lex backwards, and then that's .co.uk, or you can find me on Instagram or Facebook. And you'll find all the information to get hold of me on there. So my telephone number's on there, my email address is alexia@xelevents.co.uk. And please get in touch, even if it's advice about an event, if it's advice about youth work, why not? Get in touch. Shout me.
Fantastic. Well, Alexia, thank you for your time again. And everybody else, this has been the Business Marketing and Finance Podcast. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to log on to our new website, businessmarketingfinance.com. We'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.
This is the Business Marketing and Finance Podcast, the podcast for all your business marketing and financial needs. Get insight from experienced professionals as they delve deep into their passions and share their knowledge each week with your host, Daryl James. Like to follow or learn more? You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button now.